Okay, it's gig season here at the dojo, and today I want to show you the grid that I use to master the coordination that I need to go through on the day of a gig to make sure I get all my timings right, to make sure my bagpipe sounds great, and to make sure nothing accidentally gets screwed up. So tune in here now today for Dojo TV. We'll see you in there. Okay, the concept behind this is that we know when the gig needs to start, and we need to work backwards from there to make sure we allow ourselves enough time for each step. So let's do just that. Let's say the gig starts at 4 o'clock, right? We should arrive at least a half an hour before the gig. It should be an hour if you're being paid extremely well for the gig, right? So that there's absolutely zero chance anything could ever go wrong. You know, maybe meet in the middle, just call it 45 minutes all the time. It doesn't matter. Whatever you decide, you need to program that into your pre-bagpipe day grid. By the way, a little bit of a side note here. If you just want to use the grid that I use and that we use in the dojo community, be sure to click the link here somewhere in this video. It says learn more, or somewhere in the post you'll see the link to the free PDF about our gig preparation cheat sheet that we offer. Totally free. You just download it, piece of cake, and I want you to have it. And you can use the exact grid, and that's what I'm working from right now. I'm actually looking at it to make sure I don't forget anything right now. So 45 minutes before, you want to write that down. So you're going to write down 3:15 next to that. That's when you need to arrive. Now, before that, you'll be traveling. And you can use your Google Maps or your GPS to calculate how long the travel time will be to the gig. Let's say it's half an hour. We're going to write that down, and we're going to write down 2:45 is when we need to leave the house and start our travel, right? And we're going to write that down, and that's the schedule that we're going to follow. Now, let's back up. I'm going to tune up my bagpipes before I leave the house, and then I'm going to put the bagpipes fully tuned up in the car so that when I get to the gig, they're going to sound great from the very first strike-in. I do not want to have to tune up my pipes at the gig. That's a key thing. I teach that all the time, and I'm very adamant about it. Now, that particular last final tune-up is going to take, let's say, 10 minutes. So I forget where we were. I think it was 2:45. So 10 minutes before that is going to be 2:35 is going to be my final tuning. Okay? Now, it's going to take me 15 minutes probably to get dressed, and I'm going to calculate that, so subtract that. 2:20 means I'm getting dressed at 2:20. Now, I also want to pre-play my bagpipes, okay, which I'm going to do 15 minutes before that. So back that up. I'm at 2:05 now. So at 2:05, before I get dressed, I'm going to play my bagpipes for 15 minutes. Then I'm going to allow the time it takes to get dressed for the bagpipes to just sort of rest, to get all the moisture to acclimatize to the day's climate, which is a very important thing, right? And I'll do that while I'm getting dressed, and then I'll move forward. So anyway, what did we say? My pre-play time was going to be around 2:05. Cool. So let's take 5 minutes before that just to lay out our uniform, make sure all the pieces are there on the bed so we can see them and they're ready to go. I'm also going to bring up the calendar entry on my phone with all the details for the gig. I'm going to read through it, make sure there aren't any last-minute disasters that you discover that you forgot about. You're also going to make sure that you know for sure exactly where the gig is, how long it's going to take you to get there. So take that 5 minutes. So anyway, you can see that it takes 2 hours to get ready, and you know exactly when each thing should occur. And you've gotten that by working backwards from the start of the gig. Okay? And that's what makes the gig process really easy, and it makes sure that my bagpipes are going to sound great when I get there. And it makes sure that everything is going to go super smoothly for the gig. Now, the other thing, just as a side note before we wrap up for today, you can see that it takes 2 hours to get ready for the typical gig, right? That's if it takes about a half an hour to get there from where you live. So don't forget to factor that into your pricing. Don't play gigs for 50 bucks, right? That's what you should, maybe earn for your actual playing time when you're there. but it takes 2 times that amount of time to get prepared and to get to the gig, right? $150 would be a better price. Okay, and I actually charge much more because, you know, I'm a very good piper at this point, and I value, you know, fewer gigs at a slightly higher profit margin. It's okay with me if some people are not okay with my pricing and don't book me because my pricing's too high. Anyway, think about that a little bit, because as we work backwards and we actually do the math, playing a gig is actually at least a 3-hour process in most cases in order to do it right. So that's my on-the-day schedule. Again, if you just want to use the exact system that we use, download that free PDF by clicking the link in the video or checking out the link in the post. And I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was educational for you. And we'll see you sometime soon here in the next episode of Dojo TV.